Okay, so we'll be solving this problem. So given assets, cash 150,000, cash in bank 400,000, equipments 500,000, supplies 20,000. These are the assets. And then liabilities, we have Atoy company and XYZ companies 150,000 and 50,000 respectively. And then we have here for the capital, Liam Capital and Liam Growing, so 870,000. Then I have here revenue and expenses. So these are the account titles. So first, let's prepare our worksheet. So Excel. So a blank worksheet. Let me make my screen bigger. So I'm going to prepare my T accounts. So we have here, let's say cash, submerge, border, border right. And then we have, what else? We have cash in bank, equipments, and supplies. So these are my cash or assets. Okay, so select and then use comma format. Select comma format. So what I've done a while ago is to merge and place borders. So that's all for my assets. Okay, so assets, and then let's say I have here my liabilities and capital, so that I will have only fewer. And then let's say this is revenue and expenses. So for liabilities and capital, I have one, two, three, four. Okay, so four accounts. So again, get bigger. So this one is Atico and XYZ company. And then we have here, okay, submerged borders. So we have bottom border and then right border. Bottom border, right border. Bottom border, bottom border. So then right border, right border. Then we have revenue and expenses. So again, make this one bigger. So we have for revenue services. Then for expenses, we have internet expense. Electric bill. Then we have rentals and expenses. Okay, so again, we merge and center. Just press F4 to repeat the command. Okay, and then bottom border, select, press F4, 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 F4. Right border, F4, right border, F4, F4, F4. Then select, and then comma format. Select, comma format. Select, comma format or F4 to repeat the previous command. Comma format, comma format. I think I have that. So I'll do the same thing with this. So comma format, comma format, comma format, and then comma format. Okay. Then I'm going to select this. Use a smaller font. Let's say 6. And then color. Let's say red or green. Lighter green. Change font to 6. Color to light green. Change font size to 6. Color to light green. Change font color to 6. Color to light green. 6. Color to light green. Same is true with this. Again, change font size to 6. Color to light green. So color to 6. Color to light green. Change font color to 6. Color to light green. Font color to 6. Color to light green. Hope I have it correctly. Okay, so let's start. So first we try to enter the initial balances. So here we have cash 150,000. So again, if you still remember, A equals L plus E. Assets is on the left side or it's on the debit side. So the normal balance is on the debit side. So we are going to place all of the balances on the debit side or the left side. So I'm going to place here B. And then we have here 150,000. And then 400,000 for cash in bank. So B, 400,000. Equipments B, so 500,000. And then supplies, how much? 20,000. So we have the initial balance be 20,000. So these are the initial balances. For liabilities, again, they are on the right side of the equation. So again, their normal balance is also on the credit side or on the right side of the T account. So for liability, we have 150 and 50. So here we have 150,000, and here we have 50,000. So these are the initial balances. Okay, and then capital. So drawing, that's on the right side. That's okay. It will not display zero, but no problem. And we have 870,000. So these are the initial balance. And then for revenue, these are all zero. So these are all blank at the beginning of the accounting cycle. Okay, so we have now set up all the balances. So again, for assets, it's on the debit side or on the left side. For liabilities and capital, on the right side or on the credit side. And revenue and expenses usually starts with zero at the beginning of the accounting cycle. So now let's proceed with the first transaction. So it says here we received 300,000 cash from services. So basing from this, the two accounts are cash and services. So cash is an asset, and revenue is of course revenue that will increase the capital. So since we receive cash, then that means we're going to increase cash, and so that means we're going to place it on the left side or on the debit side. And we're going to increase capital with the services, so it should be on the right side or on the credit side. So to pause this one, so for assets, we have here transaction number one, 30,000. Okay, so that's transaction number one. And then for revenue services, transaction number one, that's also 30,000. I think I would like to make the font here darker. So okay, so that will make it more readable. So uh, we have posted our first transaction. So we receive cash, so that means our cash will increase. So we place it on the debit side, and that's for services. So services that will increase the capital, so it should be placed on the right side or on the credit side. So that's transaction number one. Now let's proceed to transaction number two. Paid 2,000 for internet bill. So we paid cash, so it's this. That means we're going to decrease our cash, and internet bill is an expense, so internet expense. So that means that will decrease cash. So again, if we paid cash for 2,000, that will decrease our cash. So asset 2,000. That's transaction number two, and that is what revenue expenses, internet bill. So that should be on the left side. So that's also transaction number two. Now, very simple. Also, if you place, if there are only two accounts, if you place one on the right side, then obviously the other one should be on the left side. But here, it's because expenses actually will decrease capital. And for us to decrease capital, we have to place it on the debit side. Then let's proceed with transaction number three. Paid 15,000 to the Gupan Electric Corporation. So that's what? Electric bill. And we paid 15,000. So that means that will decrease our cash. So if we decrease our cash, we have to place that on the credit side. So here, asset, we have here 15,000. That's transaction number three. And then on expenses, electric bill, 15,000. That's transaction number three. So that's transaction number three. Again, should be on the debit side. It will decrease our capital. Then number four, receive 50,000 cash from services. So if we receive cash, then that means our cash will increase. So we have to place. So the two accounts here are cash and services. So cash is an asset and it will increase. Therefore, it should be placed on the left side or on the debit side. And services will actually increase the capital. That's a revenue. So it should be placed on the right side. So we have 50,000 for asset. So that's transaction number four. 50,000. And then we have services, also 50,000. That's transaction number four. Am I right? Is it number four? Yes. Okay. Then now we are on transaction number five. Sold old equipments amounting to 40,000. So if we sell an equipment, we're going to receive cash. So that means it will increase our cash. And then, but that will decrease our equipment because we have to give the equipment. So the two accounts here are cash and equipments. So it will increase cash. That means it should be on the debit side, but it will decrease equipment. So it's also an asset. So it should be on the right side. So amounting to 40,000. So here, transaction number five, 40,000. We received cash, but we sold an equipment. So that's transaction number five. But we sold an equipment, so that will decrease our equipment. So it should be placed on the credit side. So transaction number five. So these are transaction number five. Okay, then number six. So transaction number six, bought supplies amounting to 10,000. So we bought supplies. We're going to pay cash. Since we paid cash, that means it will decrease our cash, but we receive the supplies. And here, supplies and cash are both assets. So amounting to 10,000. So that will decrease our cash. So it should be placed on the credit side. That's transaction number six. But we receive our supplies. So transaction number six, we have here 10,000. So that will not be confusing. I'll be centering. Okay, so let's proceed with the next transaction. We have here now paid rentals amounting to 10,000. So you paid rentals in cash, so that means cash is one of the accounts used, and then rental, so that's an expense. So cash and rentals. So since we paid rentals, that will decrease cash. So cash should be placed on the credit side, and rentals will also decrease capital. So rentals should be placed on the left side. So both supply, paid rentals amounting to 10,000. That's transaction number 7. So 7, 10,000. Am I right? Is it 10,000? Yes. And then rentals. That's transaction number 7, 10,000. Okay, so 10,000. The next, we are now on transaction number 8, paid water bill amounting to 2,000. So if you're going to click on this, we don't have water bills here, so we have to place that on other expenses. And we paid how much? 2,000. So cash. That means it will decrease our cash and decrease capital. So cash should be placed on the credit side, so amounting 2,000. That's transaction number 8. And then we paid. So since it is not placed on any account, so we have to place it on other expenses. So transaction number 8, 2,000. Okay, so let's proceed to the next transaction. Paid 5,000 for repair of equipment. So we repair the equipment. So any we don't have any expenses here. So this will both for expenses and cash. So we don't have an account for that. So again, it will be placed on other expenses. So repair of equipment. So we paid cash for 5,000. That's transaction number 9. And then other expenses we have 5,000. So that's transaction number 9, 5,000. Okay. Then let's proceed to transaction number 10, deposited 50,000 in bank. So that means if we deposit the cash, that will reduce our cash, but it will increase our cash in bank. So we deposited how much? 50,000. So we have 50,000 here. It's number 10, and that will increase our cash in bank. So we have here 50,000. Okay, so that's when we deposit. So that will reduce our cash, but it will increase our cash in bank. Then next, we have paid 50,000 as partial payment to amount owed to Ateco. So 50,000. So since we paid cash, that will decrease our cash, and it will decrease our liability. So how much? We have here 50,000. Transaction number 11. Am I right? It's 50,000. Yes, 50,000. And then as a payment, so that will decrease our cash because we paid cash. And then for liability, it will also decrease our liability. So we have here 50,000. That's for transaction number 11. So that means if you're going to compute for the liability of Ateco, it's now 150,000 minus 50,000. So the balance is 100,000. So we have decreased our liability. Then we have here now received 60,000 cash from services. So since we received 60,000, that will increase our cash, and it also increase our capital or revenue services. So we received 60,000. So transaction number 12, 60,000. And then revenue, we have here also 60,000, which will increase our capital. So it's transaction number 12. So again, we receive cash, so increase our cash. And then revenue, it will increase capital, so it will be placed on the right side. So that's 12,000. The next we have received supplies amounting to 10,000 from XYZ company on account. So we received the supplies, but this will also increase our liability because it's on account. So that will increase our supplies amounting to 10,000. So that's transaction number 13, 10,000. And we have that on liability to XYZ company, 10,000. That's transaction number 13. That will increase our liability. Okay. The next now, for number 14, gave to 25,000 to owner Lima for personal use. So that will decrease our cash. And that will be for personal use for Liam, not Lima, Liam. So how much cash? 25,000. So we have here 25,000. That's transaction number 14. Okay. And we gave that for personal use. So we have here transaction number 14. We have 25,000. So it's on the left side because it will decrease the capital. So we are now on transaction number 15. Bought a new equipment amounting to 15,000. So we decrease our cash, but we increase our equipment. So since we decrease our cash, cash will be placed on the right side amounting to 15,000. So that's transaction number 15. But we increase our equipment. So since it is an asset, we place that on the debit side. So we have here worth 15,000. So that ends the transaction. So the next one is we have to get the total. So equal to sum. So what will be our balance? So equal to debit minus credit. So this will be the new balance of our cash. So here we also get the balance of our cash in bank. So it will be 450,000. So here we have no, sorry, equal to sum equal to, so we have equal to this minus this. So that will be our balance. Here we just get a sum. Okay, so here I will not do the same thing anymore, but we just subtract. So that will be the balance. So here the balance should be 100,000, here 60,000, etc. And here we only have the total for this. So we have to get the total for revenue, etc. Okay, so I will not be doing that anymore. So more or less here is the example of getting the new balances, because later on this one will be uh, zeroed out, but the result of this will be added or subtracted to capital, and also with the drawing subtracted to capital, which will be one of our next lessons. Okay, so that ends the example on how we're going to place or how to pause these transactions in the accounts. So thank you very much for viewing this video.